The final dusting of powder from the makeup artist felt like a veil settling over my nerves. In the mirror, a stranger stared back, a flawless, serene bride. Sunlight streamed into the Drake Hotel's bridal suite, setting the intricate lace of my wedding dress ablaze, each thread a tiny, shimmering promise. I had clawed my way to this day through night shifts and emergency surgeries, but nothing had prepared for the quiet terror coiling in my stomach. Grace, lift your chin a bit. I obeyed, my eyes drifting from my reflection to my sister. Rachel was a splash of restless energy against the calm, perched on the window seat, her phone a dark, obsessive secret in her hands. Her model-sharp profile was etched against the glass, her blonde hair a defiant corona in the sun. Rachel, are you all right? Huh? Oh, I'm totally fine. Her smile was a swift, brittle thing. The response was a ghost of a touch, leaving a chill in its wake. Our mother, ever the perfectionist, was too absorbed in smoothing non-existent wrinkles from my dress to notice. She had always dismissed Rachel's volatility as a youthful quirk, a luxury never afforded to me. The eldest daughter in a dynasty of physicians, my path had been mapped in medical textbooks. Rachel's was a winding, enigmatic road. The day I got into medical school, her scream of, "It's always about big sister," had been the first crack in our foundation. I feared today it would split wide open. My gaze returned to the mirror, to the elegant waves of chestnut hair and the soft glow of the tiara. Everything was perfect. Yet, Rachel's fidgeting, the frantic dance of her thumbs on her phone screen, screamed a different truth. A desperate hope clawed at me. Please, let today be perfect. Street. Patrick's church was a vault of hallowed air and hushed expectation. As the organ swelled, I held onto my father's arm, the strong, steady arm of a surgeon, and walked toward Michael. He stood at the end of the crimson carpet, a vision in his navy tuxedo, his proud smile a lifeline. In the front row, Rachel now wore a mask of perfect serenity, though her hands, clasped tightly in her lap, betrayed a faint tremor. The vows were a blur of warmth and trembling voices. The applause was a wave of validation. For a moment, suspended in the sanctity of the church, I believed my own hope. But in the limousine, the unease returned. Rachel was again hunched over her phone, the blue light illuminating a face tight with concentration. Michael held my hand, his thumb stroking my knuckles, but his eyes, too, were watchful. The Gold Coast room at the Drake was a masterpiece of gilded elegance. Crystal chandeliers scattered light like diamond dust, and the air hummed with the soft chatter of 200 guests. It was during the lull after the lobster salad, as my father's heartfelt toast faded into warm applause, that the carefully constructed world shattered. Rachel rose, unsteady on her feet. A champagne glass trembled in her hand, her cheeks flushed with a feverish, unnatural hue. "May I say something, too?" She snatched the microphone from a startled staff member, a defiant smile twisting her perfect, influencer's mouth. A cold dread, sharp and certain, pierced my heart. "Hello, everyone, I'm Rachel, the sister." Her laugh was a bright, painful chime. "Today, our beloved Grace married a wonderful man, but everyone," she paused, her eyes sweeping the room with theatrical malice, "we forgot to introduce tonight's wait staff." A frozen silence descended. The very light from the chandeliers seemed to harden. "It's perfect practice for being a bride, isn't it? After all, that's the only kind of work suitable for my big sister, right?" The air in the room turned to ice. My father's sharp, "Rachel," was a crack in the silence. My mother's face was a sheet of white paper. Then, Michael stood. All the gentle warmth was gone, replaced by the cool, formidable authority of the courtroom. He moved with a quiet purpose, retrieving his smartphone and nodding to a staff member. A large screen descended silently at the front of the room. "Then let me make a surprise announcement for my sister-in-law," he said, his voice calm and cutting. Rachel froze, the color drained from her face, her champagne gold dress now seeming to reflect only her own panic. The guests leaned forward, a collective breath held. The projector whirred to life, and the lights dimmed, plunging the golden room into the tense atmosphere of a theater. Michael's expression was granite. "Actually, throughout our wedding preparations," he began, his words precise and deliberate, "Rachel has been making inappropriate advances toward me. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. My mother's hands flew to her mouth. My father's eyes squeezed shut. And on the screen, the ghostly blue light of a smartphone illuminated a series of text messages, a one-sided, desperate thread from Rachel to Michael, each one a nail in the coffin of her dignity and a testament to the twisted envy that had finally boiled over. The perfect day was gone, replaced by a brutal, public unveiling. "I've preserved all the evidence," Michael stated, his voice a calibrated instrument of calm, the same tone he used to address a jury, "and I believe it's time it was seen." The first image bloomed on the screen, a direct message, timestamped 2 a.m. "Don't you think I'm more attractive than my sister?" A second followed, "From the night of our engagement party. Want to meet secretly? I won't tell anyone." Then, a third, "From 1 month ago. Big sister would never understand me." With each click of the projector, another piece of Rachel's composure crumbled. The champagne gold of her dress seemed to mock the pallor of her skin, highlighting the violent tremor that ran through her. The evidence escalated, a series of late-night selfies, each more brazen than the last, culminating in a provocatively posed photo that drew a sharp, stifled cry from our mother. Beneath each message was Michael's unwavering response, a wall of professional resolve. "This is inappropriate. Please refrain. I will never betray Grace. If this continues, I will be forced to take legal action." "I saved every one," Michael continued, his gaze sweeping the stunned audience before settling on me, "and I reported them all to Grace." I gave a single, solemn nod, feeling the weight of every eye in the room. Out of love for her family, and hope for her sister, Grace chose to keep this private. She believed in you, Rachel, until the very end. It was this final act of mercy that shattered Rachel completely. "No, it's all lies." Her scream was raw, a guttural sound that stripped away the polished influencer and revealed the envious child beneath. She surged to her feet, only to collapse, her beautiful dress pooling around her like a wilted flower. "I hate you," she sobbed, her mascara bleeding down her cheeks in black tears. "You were always the perfect one, always loved. I was always just your shadow." The confession was a torrent, years of festering resentment bursting forth. "Just this once, I just wanted to take something that was yours." A hellish silence swallowed the ballroom. 200 guests sat frozen, the only movement the soft, unchanging glow of the chandeliers overhead. I saw the fractured mosaic of their reactions, the clinical analysis in my colleagues' eyes, the grim understanding on the faces of the legal professionals, the pure, unvarnished horror on my parents. My father, the renowned surgeon, fought to maintain his stoicism, but his hands, those steady, skilled hands, betrayed him with a faint, helpless tremor. My mother hid her face in a handkerchief, her voice a broken whisper. "Our fault, our way of raising them. I'm so sorry." The festive air was gone, replaced by a suffocating pall of scandal and grief. It was my voice that finally cut through the silence. I rose, the whisper of my wedding gown the only sound in the room. "Rachel," I said, and my voice was calm, steadied by years of delivering difficult diagnoses in a pediatric ward. "This ends now." I felt Michael's solid presence beside me, a pillar of strength. "I have always protected you because you are my sister," I continued, each word measured and clear. "But I will not forgive what you have done today. This is your final warning. Do not ever approach us again." The words hung in the air, a judgment and a liberation. Rachel crumpled, all the fight draining from her as she sank into the sofa. My mother wept anew. My father released a heavy, weary sigh. We turned and left, and I did not look back. The aftermath. By 4 p.m., when we returned to the Gold Coast room, the atmosphere had transformed. A wave of warm, supportive applause greeted us. The pity in their eyes had been replaced by respect. As the first notes of Etta James's "At Last" filled the room, Michael took me in his arms. "We can face anything, as long as we're together," he whispered into my hair. "I know," I murmured, resting my head against his shoulder. "I'll always be fine with you." The farewells were quieter, more meaningful. The final family photos were taken without Rachel, a picture that felt, not incomplete, but unburdened. A new page, spring sunlight, warm and promising, dappled the kitchen counter of our home in a quiet Chicago suburb. Tulips and sweet peas swayed in the garden. A vibrant dance beyond the white picket fence. Our first anniversary is coming up, I said, pouring coffee. Michael looked up from his newspaper, his courtroom sharpness entirely absent, replaced by a soft, domestic contentment. It's gone so quickly. We spoke of ordinary futures, children, careers, house renovations. This was the happiness we had built, brick by quiet brick, over the past year. Our relationship with my parents had mended, slowly and deliberately. Monthly Sunday dinners had become our tradition. My father, now retired from surgery and teaching, had regained a softness in his eyes. "It makes me happy to see you both so content," he'd say, with uncharacteristic warmth. My mother, too, had evolved. "We're learning from our mistakes," she told me once, her words heavy with unspoken regret. We heard, through the quiet channels of family, that Rachel had moved to San Diego. She'd made her social media private, stepped back from her flashy career, and had begun seeing a psychologist. She was volunteering, we were told, learning to think of others for the first time. Then, on a quiet Christmas morning, the letter arrived. "Dear sister, I have no excuses for my actions. They were unforgivable. In counseling, I am finally facing the twisted parts of myself. I think I am changing, slowly. If it is ever possible, I would hope we could be a family again, someday." The handwriting was tremulous, the paper bearing the ghosts of several drafts. I sat by the fireplace, reading it again and again, a whirlpool of old hurts and fragile hope churning inside me. On the mantelpiece stood a new family photo, my parents, Michael, and me. Rachel was not in it, but her letter rested gently against the frame. Outside, snow began to fall, blanketing the world in a soft, quiet hush. Michael came and wrapped his arms around my shoulders, his silent support saying everything words could not. The fire crackled, casting dancing shadows around the room. "Time can heal some things, can't it?" I whispered. He simply nodded, holding me tighter. Like flowers waiting beneath the winter snow, perhaps wounded hearts can also find a way to sprout anew. It was not yet the time for reconciliation, but the possibility, however distant, was now a seed planted in the thawing ground. The snow continued to fall, covering our garden in a pristine, white blanket. It felt as if the world was being made new, turning a fresh, clean page for the story that was still ours to write.